Hello, good evening, good morning. My name is Janine Bonzigier, or Coach Janine. We are very glad to be here today with wonderful panelists that today we're starting a series of how to do or how to bring business in Africa. I am with my co-host, Madame Fabiola Nadine, and also with Coach Kim, which we're bringing to you very good speakers who's going to give you some skills and some tools about how you can start thinking about bringing your business in Africa, or even started the process, because many of you guys have known that with your solution, it's all about matching the investors and the project. So we're very glad to bring to you wonderful speakers today from all over the world, I can say. So they're going to get a chance to get to know you, and please be able to keep all your questions. So we will have some time for questions, but we are very glad to connect today for this our first series of how to bring business in Africa. Thank you so much, and Madame Nadine. Oh,
Oui,
we can't
bonjour,
hear you.
bonjour tout le monde. Je suis Fabiola Nadine Gongo. Et puis, c'est un plaisir pour moi de pouvoir partager ce moment avec tous ces panélistes fantastiques et brillants, tous les uns que les autres. Aujourd'hui, c'est une série de plusieurs présentations sur la capacité, la possibilité d'avoir des gens qui veulent investir en Afrique. C'est aussi une opportunité de changer la mentalité, parce que la plupart des expériences que les gens ont, c'est le côté négatif de la réceptivité, soit que les investisseurs ont, ou bien des expériences négatives que les investisseurs vivent. Et donc, le partage des uns et des autres à partir de l'expérience que Janine, qui est de With You Solution, qui est une vue un peu globale de ce genre de changement de perception, va présenter. Donc, sans plus tarder, la plupart des panélistes vont parler de leur expérience, vont nous donner tout ce qu'ils peuvent d'inspiration ou bien de conseils sur la façon de fonctionner dans le monde des affaires en Afrique. Donc, sans plus tarder, on va laisser la parole à coach Jenny Dufresne qui commence. Et ensuite, on aura des questions à leur poser et où ils parleront tout simplement de comment inspirer, de qu'est-ce qu'ils ont comme conseil à donner, mais on aura quelques questions à leur poser et j'espère que vous allez pouvoir en bénéficier. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, Madame Fabiola. And we have the floor now for Coach Jenny. And I've known Coach Jenny for a couple of years now. I'm definitely glad that our path really crossed. She's really the person that's definitely, she has the mind and a heart for Africa. Many of the projects I've seen her doing, she's really into professional development, but mostly leadership. We just had a very wonderful conference that we had last week, where she really gave a very good nuggets about really how to be an authentic leader. And she's gonna talk more about her personal journey in Africa, but also how to bring business in, and also her personal journey and her own definition about business and also investment industry. Thank you so much, Coach Jenny. You have the floor.
Thank you so much. I am so honored and extremely happy to be here today. Africa and Janine and I actually go back a few years, where we started talking after several of my trips to Nigeria specifically. We started talking about the opportunities to invest and to support the continued building and growth of the continent. I have specific experience in Nigeria, so I'll share a little bit about those experiences, and then we can go further. Just a point, Janine, am I to stop and wait for translation, just so I'm clear?
Okay. Yeah.
Ok, coach, oui, coach Jenny a rencontré coach Janine il y a quelques années, durant son voyage, de retour de son voyage au Nigeria. Donc, elle a observé qu'il y avait une opportunité de pouvoir encourager et alimenter la croissance de certaines choses en Afrique. Donc, elle partage cette passion-là de pouvoir contribuer à la croissance en termes, j'imagine, d'investissement en Afrique. Donc, voilà. Please proceed, Jenny.
Okay. So I'm the CEO of a training and leadership development company here in the United States. I've founded and led the company for the last 8 years. We work primarily with executives, senior executives, as well as what we would describe as mid-level leaders. So those leaders who might be managers, supervisors, but those people who are responsible for getting things done in a company.
Madame Jenny, elle travaille, elle est la CEO donc d'une compagnie qui fait du coaching pour le leadership. Elle a créé une autre compagnie qui se spécialise à former les dirigeants, hein, les dirigeants seniors et puis tout le niveau de dirigeants, tant aussi sur le plan du management. Et elle a pour but de former ces gens pour qu'ils puissent prendre ce qui sont des décideurs en temps réel. Et donc, c'est sur cet aspect-là qu'elle se spécialise. Voilà.
So, leadership is the most important way that our world will become better. And our commitment as a company is to help people in leadership roles become better, much better.
Le leadership, c'est la meilleure façon pour que on puisse avoir un monde meilleur. Et son objectif et ce qui la pousse en fait, c'est de pouvoir outiller les gens à pouvoir justement être dans un processus de décision ou bien d'action qui rendra ce monde meilleur. Voilà.
So I've traveled to Nigeria probably 6 or 7 times over the last 7 years. And I saw tremendous opportunities for particularly Africans to reinvest in Africa, and in this case, to reinvest in Nigeria.
Can I just interrupt? Maybe it would be much if Coach Jenny can just continue, and then at the end, and then Madame Fabiola can just summarize for each speaker.
Okay.
That way we're going a little
Easier.
bit faster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
easier.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries.
Mm-hmm.
No worries. So in my travels to Nigeria, you know, my first experience, I had no idea what to expect, and I landed in Lagos, and you know, at the time, there was ways that you had to get through the airport, and so, you know, what I realized very quickly, and I say this as an American, was that I had to. One of the most important things for any business owner who wants to do business in, and I can't speak for the entire continent, so I'm going to speak for to my experience in Nigeria, is that it is very important to take the opportunity to understand the culture that you're walking into, and to not spend time demonizing the culture. And so, you know, I kind of say you have to go wherever you go, you adapt to what's there. So, for example, I'll come out of the airport, and it's very quickly evident that the infrastructure, the physical infrastructure, the roads, you go on, that it isn't what I'm accustomed to. Driving, for example, is not what I'm accustomed to. I was grateful to have a driver. But it's those kinds of things that are first and foremost really important. And we talk about any investor, business owner, entrepreneur looking to do business in Nigeria specifically. You have to understand that it is not the culture. If you're in the, if you're in this United States or even Canada, it's not the same culture. So the first is to adapt to where you are. Secondly, what I noticed was that there are some extraordinary human beings in Nigeria, brilliant, well-educated often, and hungry to be able to make things, hungry to be able to make things happen. But they don't have the resources. Sometimes they don't have the level of knowledge that could actually help them build businesses faster. And I think that's where a great opportunity for investors or people like myself and my company to be able to come alongside of people in Nigeria and select partners to begin to build opportunities to do business and to create synergy. So the first thing I just realized is that the infrastructure is different. And what I did was I had been developing relationships. Some people I developed relationships with here in the US. A very dear friend of mine lives in Lagos, has a number of businesses, and we established that relationship over time. So again, for any investor, anyone looking to do business, develop trusted relationships, really get to know the person or persons or companies that you want to do business with. And that's what I proceeded to do. So I wasn't quick to jump, quick to put money into something or think I'm going to get rich fast. It wasn't about that. It was about developing a relationship of mutual understanding. So to that end, if a business partner in Nigeria, if we have the same goals, that is important to develop. Do we have the same goals? Do we have the same interests? Do we have the same commitment? Because as investors, that becomes very important. Again, it's not just go in and get quickly, get rich quickly. So that is something I found to be very important. The other thing that I did is I actually took opportunities to learn how business functioned. Mm-hmm. And, if you're working with an Exxon, business functions one way. If you're working with a local business owner, and I'm saying, a larger business owner, that person's business and their team will work differently. If you're working with a very, very small business, or you're helping to provide training, as we started to do, to very small businesses to help them go from, a one-person business to being able to have more team members, that person's business works differently. So I took time to go in and learn how business worked. It's very different than the US in a lot of ways. And so, how does money work? What are the banking relationships that, for me and for women, for example, what are the business relationships and banking relationships that value a woman's leadership? That's something that might be, I might ruffle a little feathers here, make some people uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, our countries, all of these countries that, again, my experience, there's a lot of women who are entrepreneurs, but they can't get loans. I spoke to one woman who has in Nigeria, one of the very largest children's clothing line. She had her business at the time when I met her for 20 some years. And, there's this whole thing about whether she could get business loans from the bank. Well, if she can't, that stops the growth of her business. And this may affect men as well. I can't speak to it, but it was very important as I was listening is what banks, what financial institutions are providing loans to women who are trying to build their business. What are the issues around that? So again, those are things that I was learning. The other piece that I noticed was technology. Now, in the US, I can go to a bank and, put my debit card in and get cash out. But if you're outside of a major city like Lagos, as soon as you go out 10 miles, the infrastructure starts to really get wonky. Electricity becomes an issue. Lots of people have a phone, some sort of phone. And so I had to learn mobile banking was something that I had to incorporate into how we did business. I had brought some books to sell. And so, you know, initially I started to think about it. I was like, oh, I need to make sure that my book is converted into Nairas. Like I convert the price of my book into Nairas. So again, people could easily just, you know, I think it was like, I don't remember now, like 5,000 or 10,000 Nairas, but that was an easy exchange to do business. So I had to adapt my product in that case and my services in other cases so that the exchange was easy to make, right? So we weren't trying to struggle with, I wasn't putting, you know, I wasn't sitting there in the moment trying to struggle with how to do the exchange rate. I already had that figured out. So that was really important. Mobile banking was very important because what it also led me to have to do was to figure out, oh, I might need to have a bank account in Nigeria. And actually, right before the pandemic hit, I was in the process of doing that, and then we kind of backed off of it. But in order to do business there, you may need to have a bank account there. And then there's all kinds of, you know, there's all kinds of things that are involved in that. But those are just some of the things that I noticed. The most important thing that I see, and I even now, I buy products from people in Nigeria. Some of them I've never met face to face, but I have done a lot of communication over time. I will not buy a product from someone that I don't have a relationship with, period. But I've bought art, and you know, when you have a conversation with someone over time and you're asking really good questions of how do they do their product, how do they send things, what's their experience, you start to realize whether that person is a good business person from the standpoint of they're true to their word, they follow through with what they say they're going to do. So the thing I would just kind of take a step back, understanding the infrastructure, understanding how it works, understanding that there are delays that we may not experience that I don't experience in the US, but take those things into consideration. That doesn't always mean that the person on the other end is corrupt or a bad business person, or someone trying to, you know, take money and not fulfill their obligations. The other thing is really build relationships. If someone's looking to invest, go into the country, adapt to what is there, ask questions. Don't assume that all the infrastructure and the ease of business that you experience in whatever the countries you're coming from is going to translate. It doesn't, but that doesn't mean there's not opportunity and there's not people who are really willing to do business. With our training and leadership development services, you know, I went and I spoke in Ikoyi at one point, and you know, it was really started again understanding there are cultural barriers, for example, that I began to understand with women to step forward and develop their leadership skills. So then I have to think about, well, how can I do this? Who do I need to partner with in order to be able to continue to provide our services, help people grow their skills, and take into consideration that there may be cultural concerns that I need to be mindful of so that I don't violate. I'm not interested in violating cultural concerns or, you know, making it disruptive like that, because then it's not beneficial. Then people aren't being able to grow their businesses or grow themselves as leaders. So those are some of the things that I saw that were really important to address. Coach Janine, I know there's some questions. Do you want me to
yeah, I think we're going to ask you. Yeah, we're going to ask you a question, but I think I'm just going to let Madame Fabiola to summarize what you have said, and then we go for our second panelist, Mr. Chris. Yeah.
Okay, merci beaucoup. Thank you very much, Ms. Jenny Dufresne. Madame Dufresne nous a parlé de son voyage au Nigeria. Et elle s'est rendue compte tout de suite en arrivant au Nigeria qu'il y a des barrières face auxquelles elle a été confrontée, donc les barrières de la culture, de ce qu'elle a vu dans la société, c'est-à-dire les infrastructures. Et elle a dû tout de suite aussi, au lieu de se mettre dans une position de juger et d'avoir comment est-ce qu'on pourrait dire, des préjugés, mais plus ou moins des réticences, elle s'est adaptée. Elle s'est adaptée à vouloir comprendre beaucoup de choses, c'est-à-dire comment est-ce que les choses fonctionnent, quelles sont les alliances qu'elle devrait avoir en termes de synergie pour pouvoir fonctionner. Et en même temps, elle a vu aussi que il fallait avoir des ressources, c'est-à-dire des ressources de différentes sortes pour développer des relations avec les personnes avec qui elle interagissait, pour ne pas avoir un comportement qui vient déranger ce qu'elle a trouvé sur place, mais pour pouvoir fonctionner. Elle a parlé, donc ça c'est en ce qui concernait l'adaptation, c'est-à-dire avoir une compréhension mutuelle aussi des objectifs et de la vision que les gens ont de faire des affaires. En tant qu'entrepreneur, de comprendre aussi comment les entreprises fonctionnent et de mettre certaines choses à niveau. Elle a pris le temps aussi de voir que, par exemple, il fallait qu'elle s'adapte aussi à tout ce qui est technologique de son côté à elle, parce qu'elle expliquait que l'une des choses qui lui est arrivée, quand elle est arrivée à Lagos, et qu'elle a dépassé Lagos, elle s'est rendue compte qu'il n'y avait pas d'électricité, que les gens fonctionnaient beaucoup plus avec des téléphones, et que comme elle avait du matériel à vendre, elle s'est tout de suite adaptée à ça et a composé aussi avec la conversion, par exemple, de la monnaie locale pour pouvoir vendre ses produits. Elle s'est rendue compte aussi qu'au niveau des femmes, c'était pas évident parce que c'était pas toutes les banques qui permettaient aux femmes d'avoir des prêts. Donc, elle a essayé de contourner un peu, de comprendre avec qui elle pouvait s'associer pour que ces opportunités-là puissent être possibles sans nécessairement, comme je disais tout à l'heure, perturber les mentalités, la culture. Et en fait, elle parlait aussi de la possibilité pour elle, par exemple, comme un compte en banque dans le pays dans lequel elle fait affaire avec. Donc, elle a décidé d'ouvrir un compte, mais malheureusement, la pandémie est venue la trouver au moment où elle voulait faire poser ces actions-là. Donc, elle a dû attendre un petit peu. Comme elle dit, bon, elle achète des produits, par exemple, des produits locaux des Nigérians, mais le fait d'avoir développé une certaine relation de proximité avec ces gens-là, de compréhension de leur fonctionnement, fait qu'elle est beaucoup plus à l'aise à poser des questions sur la qualité du produit, sur évidemment le manufacturier, et donc elle est beaucoup plus à l'aise à envoyer éventuellement de l'argent à acheter parce qu'elle a développé cette relation. Et ça, c'est très important parce qu'elle disait qu'en tant qu'entrepreneur, la première des choses qu'elle conseille, ce n'est pas nécessairement d'aller directement et de vouloir s'enrichir très vite en investissant directement. C'est de vraiment prendre le temps de tisser les liens, de créer des relations qui vont devenir des relations de confiance et qui vont lui permettre d'avoir ces interactions-là. Alors voilà, en fait, pour elle, le gros point de ce qu'elle a présenté, c'est vraiment prendre le temps de bâtir des relations, d'aller aussi avec le respect et la compréhension culturelle pour pouvoir fonctionner correctement et que ce soit, en tout cas, et la relation se fait mutuellement, c'est-à-dire du côté du Nigeria et de son côté à elle, qui est bien sûr américaine, comme tout le monde avait compris, mais de ne pas être dans le jugement ou bien dans la critique ou de regarder les gens de façon un peu condescendante et de présumer que les gens ne seront pas aptes à faire des affaires, mais bien au contraire, en comprenant cela, ça lui permet aussi d'outiller ces gens par rapport aux ressources qui font défaut pour pouvoir organiser. Et comme elle le disait, elle a trouvé des gens brillants, des gens intelligents, des gens qui ont envie d'entreprendre des choses, mais le fait que les ressources ne soient pas là, c'est là où elle rebondit pour pouvoir essayer de voir comment elle peut pallier à ça et comment elle peut fournir aussi, en s'échangeant mutuellement, cette synergie-là pour pouvoir créer un bon climat. Donc, voilà.
Merci beaucoup, Madame Fabiola. So thank you so much for this translation. Now we're going to hold all the questions at the end for all our panelists, but we're going to go to Mr. Chris. So I'm going to introduce Mr. Chris. Like I said, I'm very glad to meet Mr. Chris. He's a business owner, consultant, and he will talk to you more about himself and what he does. But one of the aha moments or the success story that he definitely just started hit his first contract in Canada. So I'm so excited. When I saw that, I was like, oh, I need to bring him on the platform so he can be able to share his story and really talk about the success just as a business owner, and to be able to share with all of us the nuggets how to be able to do that too. Thank you so much, Mr. Chris. You have the floor.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me here. So my story is I got my degree, bachelor's degree in marketing. Eventually I got a job at Google as a marketing specialist. And during this job, when I was part of a team that got to go around the country, the United States, and train small business owners on how to grow online. So how to get a website, what is a website, how to track website visitors, all the little things that people thought were really expensive back then. And eventually I realized that I was one of the only ones that liked the training, like the presenting to people. Every time we would have to do a workshop, I'll be the one that's excited about it, right? And so this gave me the exposure with big brands such as Bank of America and also small businesses. And that's when I realized I really like to work with all these types of companies. So ended up starting my business full-time in 2014 and started off doing marketing consulting and working with organizations, going and doing presentations, seminars, and all types of ways to share my expertise. And eventually I started to realize that there's so many different types of groups I can work with. I could talk with small business owners. I could talk with individuals. I could talk with corporations. And then I start to slowly get to the point where, you know what, let me try to work with corporations because that's my background. And I feel like there's more people and they have resources as well. And also, I always did want to do business international because I'm just like growing up, I would do business and with friends and just during school, my MBA program, they talked about doing international business. So right now, what I do is same thing, corporate training, half-day seminars, full-day seminars, and then consulting. So I do a lot of that work. And recently, I was able to work with the government of Canada. And what it is just I was working with their executives at one of their main agencies. And I was excited about it because they reached out and I realized that there's a lot of opportunities. And what I realized about working with different countries is the fact that you really have to speak their language. Well, not in a literal sense, but when it comes to like these larger brands, you want to in your content, you want to make sure that your content relates to them. So, for example, if a person in a government in a different country or a large corporate client, they're going to your website and they see that you work with all these different types of people, they might stay away because they might see it as, well, this business is good, but at the same time, I don't know if it serves our audience. I don't know if they can speak to the level of our audience or our executives, our leaders. And before, and I never really spoke with executives. This is my first time, but I made sure my content was relatable to them. So that's one of the main tips I would tell a lot of people is whenever you have the content, people are looking at your website. When they look at it, if you don't speak directly to them, they're gonna go to the next competitor that does. Mm-hmm. And I always heard about how you want to niche your business. And an example is, let's say, for instance, you have a consulting service and your consulting service is mainly towards dentists. So you're known as a dental consulting practice globally. So when dentists go to your website, they know for sure that you can work with them because that's your specialty, right? So versus you saying, hey, I work with this people, I work with that person, I work at restaurants, I work with all these different type of companies. Yeah, you could serve these people, but it's not speaking directly to that audience. So that's what I recommend. And another thing too, as well is when it comes to working with the ideal type of client is be where they are at. So are they searching on Google? Are they on LinkedIn? Or what networking events they're going to? So these key clients that you want to work with, whether it's in a different country or not, where are they spending their most time? So once you have those two things, one is make sure your content fits that market. and two, being where they're at. Maybe that's on social media, but maybe that's on some type of association. Maybe they're part of an association. You want to go to these places and then you can be in front of them. And once you're in front of them, then you might be able to offer your services. And it's a little bit easier to work with them if you're around the same type of people. And the great thing about this is once you get to that point and you provide a great service, guess what? All these people know a lot of different organizations too. So if they're in a government association or if they're in a corporate position, they probably know other people that are in that same position in different companies. So just getting to know who you're really targeting and also figuring out how can you be in front of them. And also you want to make sure that they do have a budget. So if they do have the amount of resources that you offer your services. So it's an interesting quote that I heard part of an association, speakers association. They said that if the person bringing you in can't pay you, then most likely people in the audience can't pay you either. So consider that. So the people that you work with, make sure they have the budget because you don't want to spend all this time and effort and they don't have the resources. So choose a target audience that has the resources that you like working with and that you know how to reach out to as well. And another thing that I would recommend is making sure that you try to do more with what your clients that you currently have. Because a lot of people say, get more clients, get more clients, get more clients. But in reality is if you take care of one customer really well, you can do more business with that customer. So it's easier as well. So instead of going to get all these different clients, it's really good to do that. But at the same time, it's your current client list. What can you do more of? Maybe you can provide a different services. Maybe you can provide weekly videos, weekly newsletters, any type of ways that you can provide it. And especially if you're working with these different entities in different countries, most likely you can talk to more of their different departments as well. So different departments, different agencies. So doing more with these clients and having those long-term deals and opportunities that can really keep you in business and that can help you grow your business instead of trying to go after small clients all the time, figure out how you can have long-term results. And that's my session. And I'm on Instagram, Chris N. West, and also LinkedIn, Chris N. Cheatham West. You can find me on there in my website, chrisnwest.com, if you have any questions. And so, yeah, that was my session. I might not be here at the very end because there's a mix up with the time, but yeah, so that's my session.
Thank you.
All right, merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup, Chris. Thank you very much, Chris. Chris nous parle de son parcours, qui est un parcours qui est généralement en marketing et il a eu un travail pour Google. Et en fait, lui, qu'est-ce qu'il faisait? C'est de suivre un peu tout ce qui est les applications, qu'est-ce que les gens, comment les gens interagissaient et tout ça. Comme vous connaissez le moteur de recherche Google. Et lui, il s'est rendu tout de suite compte qu'il était toujours très content. Quand il y avait des ateliers, quand il y avait des webinaires, il était toujours très motivé. Et en 2014, il a créé son entreprise de consultance en marketing. Et ce qu'il s'est spécialisé, c'est à faire des séminaires pour des petits, pour des gros groupes. Et il s'est dit, pourquoi pas travailler pour une grosse corporation? Et il avait une très grande passion parce qu'un de ses travaux, et il a toujours exprimé que c'était de travailler à l'international. Donc, il a décidé comme ça de faire du coaching des corporations. Et il a eu un travail pour le gouvernement du Canada. Et ce qui lui permettait de travailler avec différents pays et tout ça. Et il s'est tout de suite rendu compte du fait que quand vous avez quand vous avez une page et que le contenu de votre page, vous devez faire très attention à ce que le contenu de votre page reflète ce que vous êtes en train de vendre. Comme par exemple, il a donné des gens qui peuvent aller sur une page et ils se rendent compte que vous interagissez avec le monde, mais la langue parler et tout ça d'utilisation n'est peut-être pas celle qui est appropriée au client. Donc ça, c'est un détail tout de suite sur lequel il a rebondi et il a attiré l'attention pour qu'on fasse, pour qu'on pallie à ça souvent quand on présente un contenu. Alors, il y a aussi le fait que le contenu qu'on présente, c'est un contenu dans lequel le client qui va sur votre page ou qui regarde votre page, c'est un contenu dans lequel il faut qu'il se retrouve. Quand je dis qu'il se retrouve, c'est-à-dire il faut qu'il se reconnaisse et qu'il puisse s'identifier à ça et donc pouvoir avoir une interaction, un petit peu plus pratique parce qu'il se retrouve. Alors, il a donné aussi un indice qui est très important, c'est d'essayer de ne pas, comme on dit en français, courir plusieurs lièvres à la fois, c'est-à-dire aller dans plusieurs compagnies à la fois, mais de se focaliser par exemple sur une grande compagnie. Et une fois que cette compagnie-là, c'est la compagnie qu'on est en train de servir, alors on est beaucoup plus focalisé à donner beaucoup plus de qualité, à prendre le temps qu'à être ici et là à s'éparpiller. Quand, par exemple, vous avez un client, essayez aussi de voir quel est l'environnement dans lequel le client il évolue. Et cet environnement-là, vous devez plus ou moins essayer de vous localiser dans cet environnement-là pour continuer à alimenter un contenu qui ressemble, à ce que le client fait, d'où aller sur les réseaux sociaux, s'il est sur Instagram, s'il est sur LinkedIn, s'il est sur tous les réseaux où votre client peut se retrouver, c'est conseiller, lui, le conseil qu'il donne, c'est qu'on puisse y être pour pouvoir favoriser cette fluidité continue d'interaction avec le client. Et une des choses où il est franc aussi à dire, c'est-à-dire aller vers des gens que vous savez que ces gens-là ont des ressources. Parce que c'est vraiment une perte de temps que d'investir énormément de temps pour quelqu'un que vous savez qu'il ne va pas pouvoir, il ne peut pas se permettre les services que vous lui donnez. Donc, voilà, donc si on peut dire en gros, pour lui, il conseille de faire un client à la fois. Voilà, merci.
Merci. Thank you so much, Madame Fabiola. Now we're going to go our third panelist, which is Monsieur Ignace Molika. I'm very glad that he definitely agreed to be on because he's a very busy guy. He has so many businesses, so I'm really glad that he was able to connect and be able to be available for us today. So I'm just going to give a very briefly presentation about Mr. Ignace Molika. I've known him for many, many years. And he always been, mining and also diamond industry and many other industry as well. But mostly, I really like the way his leadership style. That's really what really drew me to him, to be able to ask him some questions. And for so many years, I always watch him how he could be able to work with others with such a peace, and also make sure that he treats everybody with honest, with everybody with sympathy. So to me, that's a very good quality as a leader. So I'm very glad that he was he had the time to be able to come in and be able to give us some very good nuggets about how to bring in investors in Africa. He will be able to introduce himself and show to all of us how can we be able to do the same. So welcome, Monsieur Ignace Molika.
Bonjour, j'espère vous m'entendez. Oui?
Yes.
Oui.
Okay, c'est parfait. Je suis vraiment désolé parce que là, j'ai été pris à court pour la journée d'aujourd'hui, mais je vais essayer d'être un peu bref dans la présentation. Au fait, j'ai suivi ce que mes deux prédécesseurs ont partagé avec nous, notamment Madame Jenny Dufresne, qui parlait de l'investissement au Nigeria, venant surtout d'une vision extérieure dont les États-Unis. Je pense qu'en Afrique, en général, on retrouve les mêmes problèmes. Problèmes de confiance, problèmes de garantie quant aux investissements en partenariat avec des locaux. Parce qu'il est certain que pour pouvoir exercer un business dans nos pays africains, il faut en priorité avoir une connaissance des locaux, comment l'homme d'affaires congolais par exemple, réfléchi, comment l'homme d'affaires congolais vit. Et là, je peux vous dire directement que c'est un peuple qui vit au jour le jour, ce qui veut dire qu'il doit dépenser de l'argent au jour le jour, ce qui veut encore dire que pour les investisseurs, ça peut être des rentrées d'argent au jour le jour. Mais tout ça, c'est une façon pour l'étranger de pouvoir comprendre comment au Congo, précisément, les affaires sont conduites. Il est sûr que pour un investisseur, parlons des investisseurs américains, afin de venir au Congo, il faut connaître le partenaire avec qui vous allez faire affaire. Et cela n'est pas facile. Alors, moi, comme Janine vient de le mentionner, je suis dans les pierres précieuses, dans les diamants. Pourquoi les diamants? Au fait, je suis rentré au pays en 1988, après 6 ans d'études aux États-Unis. Je suis revenu avec un diplôme en économie agricole. Donc, pour moi, c'était une grande ouverture, vu que notre pays est béni par les dieux dans son secteur agricole. Mais en rentrant au pays, j'ai été surpris parce que, bon, le fait d'avoir ce diplôme ne m'a pas servi. Il ne m'a pas servi. Bon, heureusement, dans la famille, on avait plusieurs affaires dans ce domaine-là, donc j'ai pu trouver un débouché au sein de la famille, dans le secteur agricole, dans le Grand Équateur, dans le domaine de l'huile de palme, dans le domaine de la savonnerie. Et c'est là que j'ai pu exercer mes fonctions économiste agricole. Cela a duré 2 ans. 2 ans. Et pendant ces 2 ans, c'est vrai que nous avons rencontré beaucoup de problèmes, mais le problème le plus important, c'était d'être ravitaillé en devises étrangères. Alors, pourquoi les devises étrangères? Parce que, bon, toute société de manufacture, de fabrication au Congo a besoin d'importer du matériel donc de l'étranger. Qui dit importation dit devise. Au Congo, comme l'a dit Madame Dufresne, il est très difficile d'obtenir des financements à travers les banques. Alors, j'étais obligé de trouver pour la famille, donc pour le groupe qu'on avait dans l'agriculture, un moyen pour générer des devises. Alors, tout d'abord, vu qu'on avait cette exploitation d'huile de palme, transformation en savon, on avait la possibilité de vendre ce matériel, cette marchandise en Centrafrique. Centrafrique qui utilise le franc CFA, qui est déjà une devise, vu que c'est une parité avec le franc français. Donc, on était obligé de vendre nos marchandises en Centrafrique afin d'avoir des devises qui nous permettaient de commander à l'étranger du matériel, donc la matière première. Mais cela ne suffisait pas. Alors, je me suis lancé dans le secteur du diamant. Pourquoi le secteur du diamant? Parce que le secteur du diamant nous permettait à l'époque d'acheter de la marchandise, donc les pierres précieuses, avec le franc local et vendre maintenant cette matière à l'étranger pour avoir des devises qui nous permettent d'acheter la matière première. Donc, j'ai dû maintenant laisser le travail du secteur agricole afin de me donner comme tâche les devises. Et souvent, c'était en dollars. Et bon, cette branche des activités a pu sauver, au fait, les affaires qu'on avait au Congo. Parce qu'il est, bon, c'est pas un secret, on a eu beaucoup de problèmes depuis surtout les années 98, après le changement politique. Dans les banques, beaucoup de personnes ont quitté, beaucoup de sociétés ont quitté, et jusqu'à ce jour, c'est très difficile d'avoir des financements. Et sans financement, il n'y a pas lieu sérieusement de faire des affaires au Congo sans avoir de partenaires étrangers. Donc, l'intérêt d'un partenariat avec l'étranger, c'est surtout l'apport de financement. Parce que quand vous vous promenez dans les pays africains, principalement au Congo, vous allez voir énormément de buildings, énormément d'alimentation, énormément d'affaires, mais qui sont gérées par des étrangers. Alors, on se pose souvent la question, comment est-ce que les étrangers arrivent à avoir des financements? Et nous, Congolais, n'arrivons pas à avoir ces financements. Bon, c'est des questions qu'on se pose. On continue à se les poser parce que disons, aujourd'hui, c'est très difficile de trouver un Congolais dirigeant d'une entreprise, ce qui n'était pas le cas dans les années post-90. Donc, voilà. Mais de ma part, il n'est pas impossible de trouver une coalition avec un étranger, parlons toujours des États-Unis, mais nous avons besoin, comme nous sommes en train de le faire maintenant, une plateforme de personnalités qui peuvent emmener des investisseurs au Congo et de nous trouver, nous, déjà installés, afin de pouvoir collaborer ensemble, parce que nous essayons beaucoup de choses. Par exemple, moi, aujourd'hui, c'est difficile de continuer dans mon secteur de diamant parce que j'ai besoin de financement, j'ai besoin de financiers, j'ai besoin de partenaires. Les partenaires que j'avais auparavant, à cause des problèmes politiques qu'on a subis au Congo, ils ont dû quitter le pays, ils ont dû aller vers d'autres cieux. Donc, trouver maintenant des nouveaux partenaires, c'est très difficile. Parce que bon, le secteur dans lequel nous sommes, c'est un secteur où la confiance est de rigueur. Et aujourd'hui, c'est pas évident de trouver des gens qui ont cette confiance dans les pierres précieuses, dans le citoyen congolais. Vous voyez? Donc, on essaye petit à petit de se lancer dans diverses entreprises, notamment dans le domaine agricole, en achetant des terres, dans le domaine de la ferme, en achetant quelques volailles et essayer de reprendre une activité qui pourrait intéresser un éventuel investisseur à venir nous encourager, nous financer afin de développer ça à un niveau industriel. Vous voyez? Donc, dans ce cas-là, l'investisseur qui serait intéressé à venir au Congo trouvera déjà quelque chose de concret et avec sa présence, avec son savoir et son financement, nous pourrons ensemble faire grandir cette industrie. Ok, donc en gros, voilà ce que je voulais partager avec vous. Et bon, nous attendons les questions éventuelles. Okay. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup, M. Ignace. Madame Fabiola.
L'anglais, ok. Je pensais que tu allais traduire.
Désolé. Hein?
Non, c'est pas un problème. No, here's our brother and well-known Ignace Moleka. And Ignace Moleka is an entrepreneur. He evolved in the sector of diamond business, so minerals. He was in the States for quite a while, where he studied agriculture and economics. So what happened is after a certain while, he went back to DRC, and as he went there, he right away understood that his diploma was not very useful to the contest. So what he did is he evolved and dealing with diamonds and everything, and because they have lands, and most of the activity they had in a certain part of the Congo is land and soap and palm oil lands. So what they were doing is they were dealing into that, but with the diamond, things were going very well until, for like everybody know, in Africa, the political situation changed. And then it was very difficult for the partners to continue dealing because, you know, as all of you know, you need to build the trust, and people who were in the banking, who were financing those people, they went somewhere else, and the situation became a little bit difficult, but he never gave up. He continued, and he realized that after a certain times, he needs cash flow because the diamond were allowing him, where he was dealing in Central Africa, to finance some of the activity. But unfortunately, as things change, he continued a little bit, and then now realizing that the context changed, we need to rebuild that trust, even if things are evolving, and he needs partner. He needs people who will team up with him, who will be like an ally with him to invest. So he went back now to the agriculture sectors, and also doing anything that is connected to that, like farm, because they have a lot of lands. And mostly what he's looking for, the platform is trying to present in here, is to have the opportunity to have investors who will be ready and who will be willing to invest in all the mechanism of financing agriculture, and also being also able to show that when they will come down to the Congo, they have already a structure existing, like the land that he has and the thing that they started already, to make it grow and to make it a little bit bigger. And the correlation he was doing with what Miss Jenny Dufresne presented is the situation that she dealt with in Lagos, in Nigeria, is not abnormal to Africa. Most of the African countries are going definitely through this kind of situation, political changes and stuff like that, and that we totally will make everything socially, economically stumble. So most of the time is being able to be creative, is being able to bounce back, it's being able to create bridges like he wants to do from one sector to another, but still continue the synergy of the entrepreneur mindset to keep going and to bounce back into another field, but to continue those partnerships. So mostly this is why he's here, and he didn't give up, but as he said, is ready and is willing, is anybody is open to dive into this venture, because in a business you call it business venture as partner. Well, is there. So mainly it will be like all of you waiting for the question to answer, and thank you.
Thank you so much. And also I will mention that actually Mr. Ignace, he's been volunteering to be one of our advisor in With You Solution. So we're very glad that he's really there, always giving us some advices about, you know, especially when it comes about Africa and industry, you know, so investment. Thank you so much, Mr. Ignace. Now we're going to go to our next speaker, which is Mr. Badji. I'm glad that he definitely took time. He's a busy man too. And I remember many years we didn't speak, but we always keep in touch. So he's really somebody that's very passionate about his business and also about people. So I remember when we reconnect, we talk like for many hours. Like, wow, it's like we were just talking yesterday. So I'm so glad to bring again on this platform Mr. Badji. He's going to talk about how he can help us to answer this question about how to bring and how to do business in Africa. Thank you, Mr. Badji.
Good day, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. Donc, it's a pleasure for me to be in this panel list today. And I would like to thank Janine for having me here with you. And many things has been said already before me, beaucoup de choses qui ont déjà été dites avant moi. Donc, je vais essayer peut-être de compléter un peu avec ce qui a été mentionné. So I will try to mention a little bit more than what was said a little bit before. So, like Janine mentioned, my name is Badji Chamala. I'm from Republic Democratic of Congo. I spent the first 20 years of my life over there, and about so much also here in Canada, specifically in Montreal. And I will be sharing a little bit of my experience about doing this because I'm always interested about that reality. Donc, mon nom est Bashkiré Chamala. Je mentionnais que ça fait environ 20 ans que mes premières 20 ans, en fait, je les ai passés au Congo et j'ai passé pratiquement le même temps ici, au Canada. Je suis à Montréal. Et donc, aujourd'hui, avec vous, je vais essayer de partager un peu de mon expérience puisque j'ai toujours été intéressé à l'entrepreneuriat. Qu'est-ce que c'est le Congo? Le Congo, c'est la République démocratique du Congo. What is Republic Democratic of Congo today? It's about 2,345,000 square. And as a population, we're talking about an average of 90 million people. And about more than 50% of the population is between 18 and 65. And the capital is Kinshasa. And if you take Kinshasa and Brazzaville, which is the other Congo, it's 15 minutes apart. So that makes them the closest capitals in the world. And the previous name from Republic Democratic of Congo was Zaire, and it is bordered by about 9 countries. So, je donnais un peu le descriptif de ce qu'est la République démocratique du Congo. C'est 2 345 000 km² avec une population estimée à environ 90 millions. Et la population moyenne, près de plus de 50% de la population a entre 18 et 65 ans. Le nom précédent du Congo, c'était le Zaïre et c'est entouré de 9 pays. So I was mentioning that it is about 9 countries. So if we take only, for example, Tanzania, Angola, and Congo together, this represents about more than 150 million in terms of population. So for people who are interested to invest in Congo, you have a big market. Congo, Kinshasa is about a quarter, let's say 1/4 of the United States. Donc, je disais que si nous prenons la République démocratique du Congo, la Tanzanie et l'Angola ensemble, ça représente plus de 150 millions d'habitants. Donc, pour ceux qui veulent investir, ça représente quand même un marché très intéressant pour les investisseurs. Alors, normalement, j'avais prévu une présentation, mais je pense que j'allais...
Benji, do you want us to do the slide?
I don't mind if you would like to, and I can keep it. Let's say the slide I'm on right now, it's the flag. Just in case you
Madam Fabiola, can you share the screen?
I was not able to share it from mine. I think you can share it from yours since you
Yeah, I think Fabiola can be able to do it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So the flag, where I am right now, it's about the flag. So just in case some people decided to travel to Congo, in order for you to make sure that you're reaching the right country, you need to recognize that flag floating in the air. It might be somewhere else. So, comme je disais, donc c'est important peut-être de reconnaître donc le drapeau du Congo si jamais on est en mesure de mettre, to display the pictures on my slide that I share to be able to know a little bit. So, when it comes to do business in Democratic Republic of Congo, you need to know first of all that the country is mostly French. Donc, la République démocratique du Congo, c'est plus particulièrement le français qui est parlé. There is 4 main languages that you can speak over there, which is Lingala, Swahili, Chiluba, and Kikongo, and there is many other languages also around. Donc, il y a environ 4 langues principales qui sont parlées au Congo, à savoir le Swahili, le Kikongo, le Chiluba, ainsi que le Swahili, le Kikongo, le Chiluba et le Lingala. Et la langue officielle, ce serait donc l'anglais, ce serait le français. And the reason I'm mentioning about this language, because for an investor, and especially for those coming from English-speaking areas such as America or Canada, for example, the language are generally barriers. So I just want to let you know that in Congo, you have some interesting schools where they speak English and they teach English. And over there, you might find a translator that can guide you throughout your journey on investing in Congo. Donc, il y a quand même des bonnes écoles où l'on enseigne l'anglais, dans lesquelles vous pouvez trouver donc des traducteurs pour pouvoir vous accompagner lors de votre séjour au Congo. La monnaie qui est utilisée, c'est le franc congolais. It's the Congolese franc that is used over there. But the US dollar, it's one of the main currency that is used there, and with the euro also. Very important for business, as my predecessor just mentioned, Mr. Inyas Molika. You know, you always search for new currencies or overseas new currencies such as the dollar in order for you to make business, or if you would like to invest. At this time, for example, about $1 US, it's around 2,000 francs, just to give you an idea on how things are going down there. So regarding doing business in Republic Democratic of Congo, there is a lot of opportunities there. In hydroelectric, for example, in the mining, it was just mentioned a little bit earlier here, and the Congolese government also are applying some certain number of policies to attract investors. But those negotiations are generally done between the country or the government and investors themselves. So these are a little bit most of the informations also that you might find on the internet. Donc, ce que je viens de mentionner, en fait, c'est que la République démocratique du Congo représente beaucoup d'opportunités en termes d'investissement. Il y a entre autres le secteur hydroélectrique. Il y a le domaine des mines. Nous avons même quelqu'un ici qui en a témoigné, qui était dans le domaine. Et actuellement, il y a quand même un gouvernement qui essaie d'attirer des nouveaux investisseurs. Mais par contre, les ententes sont faites entre le gouvernement et l'investisseur. Donc ça, c'est un peu le genre d'informations que vous pouvez retrouver au niveau de l'Internet et ainsi de suite. Donc, les domaines d'investissement dans lesquels on peut investir, il y a entre autres l'énergie, il y a l'agrobusiness, il y a le tourisme, il y a l'infrastructure, il y a les technologies, il y a l'art et la culture, il y a la transformation, qui est aussi quelque chose de très important. Ce qui concerne la République démocratique du Congo, il y a beaucoup de choses qui peuvent être dites. There is many things that could be said actually about the Republic Democratic of Congo. You can invest in many industries such as the energy, the agribusiness, the tourism, infrastructure, technology, art, culture, and also the transformation industry. There is a lot of opportunity that you can do there. There's many things that can be said about Republic Democratic of Congo, where books can be written. But most of this country, the relationship that people has with it, it's about doing business with the country. So I will not go in terms of history, but there is three main history that I can report. When we needed tires, at one point we called on the Congolese EVEA. When we needed, unfortunately, Sastori bombs, it was the uranium of the Congo. And when we need cell phone or technology today, we're calling on the coltan, which is we're using right now. So je disais en fait que le Congo a généralement été quand même au centre des affaires. À l'époque, lorsque nous avons eu besoin des pneus, on a fait appel à l'EVA du Congo. Malheureusement, durant la guerre mondiale, on a fait appel à l'uranium. Et en ce qui concerne, par exemple, les technologies actuelles, on a besoin du coltan. Une fois de plus, le Congo est en train de jouer un rôle particulier là-dedans. Donc, en termes d'opportunités, les opportunités sont là. Et ce qui peut sembler, comme mes prédécesseurs l'ont mentionné, être des challenges, en fait, pour les investisseurs, ça peut être des opportunités. So, what I was saying a little bit earlier that my predecessor has mentioned, that what could have been a challenge reality for investors in Congo could be actually an opportunity. Let's say in terms of infrastructure. Now, most of the countries, let's say most of the investors that are coming in Congo, they're coming regarding infrastructure, for example, building roads, building new areas, new cities, and so on. So which creates a lot of opportunities for investors. Donc, je suis en train de mentionner qu'avec les changements politiques qui sont en train d'avoir, il y a quand même des opportunités qui sont en train de se faire. Lorsque certaines conditions ou certaines situations se trouvent être des challenges, en République démocratique du Congo, ça peut représenter en fait une opportunité d'affaires pour ce qui est des investisseurs. Alors, comme ça a un peu été brossé par mes prédécesseurs une fois de plus, c'est que faire une association, ce serait quelque chose d'important avec les locaux. what I was trying to say was like, when it comes to do business in Congo, it's also very interesting, for example, to do what it was mentioned by my predecessors, to do a joint business regarding on what sector you want to invest yourself. But most of all, also, do not necessarily come with your money to invest right away. Go there, see the people, make a trip to Congo, visit there, see according to your interests who are the players, let's say, in that area. Pay attention about the laws. The Republic Democratic of Congo signed many treaties and conventions, such as the World Trade Organization, the World Health organization, part of it too. And of course, your main allies will be a contract that you're signing. And I might say also the banks, they still need some improvement, but you need to put them also in play if you want to secure your investment. So, je suis en train de mentionner donc que c'est important de faire des joint ventures, des associations finalement avec le type d'entreprise qui vous intéresse lorsque vous voulez investir en République démocratique du Congo. La République démocratique du Congo a signé plusieurs traités quand même internationaux qui vous protègent. Évidemment, votre meilleur allié, ce serait les contrats et puis les banques. Parce que les banques, évidemment, sont tenues par certaines règles, donc c'est la meilleure façon quand même de protéger vos investissements. Personnellement, lorsque j'ai dû repartir 13 ans après, il a fallu que je fasse un peu le même procédé, c'est-à-dire faire une étude de marché, venir rencontrer les gens, m'approprier, m'imprégner à nouveau de la réalité, parler le langage du business que je voulais faire en République démocratique du Congo. Et j'ai fait quelques voyages avant de commencer à investir financièrement. So just to conclude, I was saying that even for myself, after 13 years outside of Republic Democratic of Congo, in order for me to go back, I needed to go back first, speak with the people, understand the language of the business that I wanted to get myself into. And it's only after a few trips that I started putting money where my mouth was. So this is basically what I wanted to share with you today. In case there is any other question, of course, I'll be available as long as Jamie keeps us. Donc, je reste à votre disposition si jamais vous avez d'autres questions. Merci. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That was very helpful for us to have those tools. And I think we will also talk with Mr. Bazi if he's okay with him to be able to share this slide with all our panelists and also in the audience, people who would like to just have the slide. That would be great. So we will ask him his permission. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now we're gonna go next to our next panelist is Monsieur Joe. See if he can be able to talk about his business. And also I'm looking forward to get to know him more and also to see our joint venture with him as well. Thank you. You have the floor, Monsieur Joe.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to meet Africans who want to share light into Africa and see how we can develop it even more. So great initiative. So my name is Joe Mupondo. I'm a son of an African king, come politician, and a Swedish mother. I was born in the Congo, and in 1991, due to security issues in the Congo, I moved to Sweden, to Stockholm, to continue my schooling. And I did go back to the DRC for a year between 97 and 98, and that's actually where I met Baji. We went to school together, and then I went back to Sweden again, and I wanted to be a doctor first, so I started all my high school, with that in mind. But I fell in love with music, and so basically I applied to a privately owned vocal educational academy, studied music production, and worked several different jobs to cover my expenses. And in 1999, I started a group with my little brother Mohombi, in a group called Avalon, and we had that group for 9 years. We sold over 500,000 records. We got awarded the Cora Awards, which was the equivalent to the US Grammy back in the days. It was the biggest African award. And all of that, we did that independently. So we invested in ourselves. We didn't sign with any record labels. So I started my first company when I was 22, and the company was, of course, a music and event production company, which was the company that was producing our music and our records. I understood quite quickly that I needed to better master my new role as an executive. So I finally decided to go to university and study. I studied entrepreneurship and ethnology as well. And in 2006, we funded La Clique Music, which became our new company together with another friend. And since then, well, La Clique Music is also a production company, publishing company. And today, La Clique Music has offices in Sweden, in UK, in Dubai, in DRC. We involved in over 9 million sales of songs. We have over 20 top 10 songs in several countries, and 2 Grammy Awards, US Grammy Awards, as La Clique Music, as publishers. And I acted as CEO and chairman for La Clique Music until 2018. But I decided to step down from the CEO position so that I could concentrate in developing my vision, or the group's vision, in creating sustainable entertainment ecosystem in Africa by investing in 2 startups. One was or is a Pan-African music streaming platform that was launched during COVID, mid-June, in DRC. And also La Clique Media, with a radio station in the DRC. So we started a radio station in the DRC as well. So that's one of my hats. That's the music hat. But I do have another hat as well. So back in 2007, I moved to DRC. I moved back in 2007 in DRC. So all the operations, I was managing the operations for DRC together with my other associates who were in other parts of the world. So I moved back in 2007, and I started working and helping to develop Sodeiko, which is our family business. Sodeiko was founded in 87, by my parents. And in 2002, we opened an HR management branch who grew to become the core business. We were the first company to have a full integrated HR business. And obviously we became at some point the biggest. Today we still, I believe, top 3 within the company. By 2007 we had 30 clients. Today we have around 150 clients. We have offices. We have offices in 6 different countries in Africa, and we work all over sub-Saharan Africa through other local partners. So Sodeiko also became a group. We decided to diversify the business. In 2017, we opened a management consulting firm specialized in business development to help companies to grow sustainable businesses throughout Africa. Both African companies, but also foreign companies with interest in Africa. We also have an investment fund, our own internal investment fund, to develop and diversify our business. We have opened a medical branch where we sell services, medical services, medical management services for companies. We have our own academy, which is a vocal educational academy. We also have a sanitation company, and we invested in a startup, actually a Congolese startup last year, which is a fintech company and a digital wallet with high potential growth. If it hadn't, we wouldn't invest in it. So it's called Maisha Pay. Very, very interesting. And we also were the first company to start an independent banking agency network in the DRC. So we do a lot. We are also in real estate, but we've just launched that branch. So we have a few projects in both residential, commercial, and also hotel, actually, because we believe that, you know, just as agriculture is, tourism is something that we believe will very soon come into the DRC. And the countries where we have offices are Zambia, Mauritius, Central African Republic, Cameroon, Congo Republic as well. So it's basically Central Africa and our neighboring countries. That's the shortest I could do in order to present what I do and my two companies. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joe. I think just for the sake of timing, we're just gonna go next for the Ambassador Keita Sheikh, so we can be able to come back in French for the questions, because we're definitely running out of time. But thank you so much, Mr. Joe. I'm looking forward to get to know you more and your business. And Mr. Ambassador, you have the floor. Hello, Monsieur Keita, can you hear? Est-ce que tu peux nous entendre?
Excellence Keita, vous nous entendez?
Oui, bonsoir à tout le monde.
Bonsoir.
Oui, moi je vous entends très bien. Est-ce que vous m'entendez?
Oui, très bien, merci.
Moi je vous entends bien, mais vous, est-ce que vous m'entendez?
Oui, oui, on vous entend.
Est-ce que vous m'entendez?
Yes.
Oui, oui, on vous entend sans problème.
Oui, on vous entend, ambassadeur.
Oh. Oui, bonsoir. Est-ce que vous m'entendez?
Oui, oui, on vous entend, on vous entend. Tout le monde, regardez
Yes.
l'écran, tout le monde dit OK. Oui, oui, oui.
Bonsoir. Bonsoir à tout le monde. Bonsoir à tout le monde. Je suis très heureux d'être avec vous. La plus grande. Très bien. Très bien. Je pense que l'œuvre dans la construction des digues, c'est unir les hommes pour un but commun afin de partager les expertises, afin de transcender les barrières et puis valider des process possibles pour que tout le monde puisse en avoir une bonne contribution et que cette contribution soit bénéfique tous. Je suis heureux de vous. Je suis fils d'Afrique, comme vous autres. Et je suis né en Guinée et j'ai fait mes études en France, où je réside, où j'ai travaillé pendant 25 ans comme inspecteur de finances à Bercy, au ministère des Finances français. Je suis sorti du ministère des Finances français j'ai été nommé ambassadeur à International Human Rights Commission pour m'occuper des problématiques de la gouvernance, de la prévention des conflits, résolution des conflits. Mais parfois, quand on me demande mon métier, je ne dis pas ambassadeur, parce que pour moi, ambassadeur, c'est une mission. Je dirais que je suis un entrepreneur, un chef d'entreprise, puisque j'ai 3 entreprises. La première entreprise, c'est OBA, Open Business Africa. Et la deuxième entreprise, of Innovation. Et la troisième entreprise, c'est Siliga African Network. Voilà, alors, les 3 entreprises, je vais vous en expliquer. J'étais parti d'un constat très simple. Moi, ayant vécu toute ma vie de mes études en France, je suis fiscaliste, je n'ai pas oublié de vous le dire. Je suis économiste, je suis diplômé, de diplôme universitaire d'études approfondies dans l'économie appliquée et dans la fiscalité. Alors, ayant fini mes études, j'étais entre 2 choix. Est-ce qu'il faut aller en Afrique pour travailler? Est-ce qu'il faut rester en France? Mais la situation au moment où j'ai finissé mes études, j'ai pas eu des opportunités utiles pour retourner en Afrique. Donc finalement, je me suis dit qu'il fallait que je reste en France. Mais par la suite, comme vous tous, on a notre histoire, je me suis dit il fallait absolument que je travaille en France en faisant un écart et contribuer aussi en Afrique. Donc j'ai essayé de voir dans quelle mesure je pouvais y contribuer. Je pense que vous tous vous le faites. J'ai créé mon entreprise Open Business Africa. Open Business Africa est une entreprise qui est un navire. Alors, on parle aujourd'hui de dire aux gens comment faire pour aller en Afrique. C'est la première question que les investisseurs se posent. Tout le monde et tous les grands investisseurs du monde, toutes les grandes sociétés du monde veulent aller en Afrique. Mais aller en Afrique, ça suppose risquer quelque chose. Donc, pour moi, il fallait que je crée quelque chose qui puisse être un navire pour porter les gens qui veulent aller en Afrique. C'est pour créer Open Business Africa, OBA. OBA reçoit toutes les entreprises du monde et tous les entrepreneurs du monde pour les écouter, pour voir est-ce qu'ils ont une stratégie pour aller sur le marché, qu'est-ce qu'ils veulent faire. Nous travaillons avec eux et nous essayons d'ouvrir nos capacités pour les amener sur le terrain. Alors, Open Business Africa travaille depuis sa création en 2000 sur 44 pays aujourd'hui. Nous avons introduit beaucoup d'entreprises dans 44 pays et nous continuons à travailler pour accompagner tous les investisseurs du monde, toutes les grandes entreprises du monde, toutes les petites entrepreneurs du monde, tous les petites
Mr. Keita, I think he's having some difficulty with technology. Because I think he just froze. Okay. Maybe we can be able to go back to Mr. Keita in a second, but by the time that he restarted again or reset. But we can start with one of our first question before Mr. Keita come back, if it's something we would be
Qu'est-ce
able to do that.
qu'est-ce que tu dirais, Janine, excuse-moi, qu'est-ce que tu dirais que, bon, la personne qui connaît mieux Monsieur Joe, c'est Monsieur Badji.
Yes.
S'il peut concentré parce que moi, j'ai tout noté. J'ai comme le vertige. Il a fait tellement de choses. Il est dans le monde de la musique. C'est un entrepreneur. Il a créé des entreprises pour soutenir d'autres entreprises. Une entreprise de ressources humaines. Il a évolué dans le monde de la musique. Il a créé un groupe. Ils ont produit. Et en même temps, il a été étudié pour mieux maîtriser le monde événementiel. Et donc, là où il est, bon, il fait plein de choses. Ils ont aussi créé une autre entreprise qui s'appelle Deco, qui est justement l'une des plus grandes entreprises des ressources humaines. Ils ont quelque chose qui est relié au domaine médical, à la branche médicale qui arrive, une entreprise pour tout ce qui est chant. Alors, j'ai demandé, parce que c'est très quand même fluide, à Baji, Monsieur Baji, Monsieur Chamala, s'il peut un petit peu compléter pour mettre encore plus en lumière de façon beaucoup plus appropriée son ami avec qui ils ont étudié, qui est à Stockholm, qui est retourné à Kinshasa et qui a été primé pour la musique et pour les choses qu'ils font au Grammy et dans une autre chose. Monsieur Chamala, si vous pouvez juste un petit peu compléter pour le bénéfice de nos auditeurs et qui cernent bien qui est Monsieur Joe Mupondo.
Déjà, Fabiola, je pense que vous faites un super, très bon boulot, puisque vous avez dit les grandes lignes, au point où je me pose même qu'est-ce que vous aimeriez que je rajoute. Est-il que, en effet, donc, dans une première partie de sa carrière, c'était donc la musique dans laquelle il a investi. Pour ceux qui s'y connaissent un peu dans le monde du hip-hop, il a créé donc le groupe Avalon avec son frère qui a continué, qui est encore dans la musique, qui s'appelle Morambi, avec lequel ils ont connu quand même des succès notables et de façon internationale. Ça, c'est ce que je peux vous dire au niveau de la musique. Et il a donc été aussi, il a joué aussi donc le rôle de CEO à l'intérieur de l'organisation. Alors, après la musique, il a voulu se donner d'autres challenges. Et par rapport à ces challenges-là, il a estimé que c'était bien de reprendre le chemin de l'université pour faire du management. Et ce qu'il a donc accompli avec brio. Et pour un peu peut-être compléter ce que vous n'avez pas mentionné tout à l'heure, c'est qu'il est revenu donc au pays reprendre la gestion de l'entreprise familiale et où ils sont dans différents secteurs. En ce moment, l'entreprise qu'il a mis sur place est une entreprise. Enfin, il a mentionné aussi qu'il y a un fonds donc d'investissement qu'ils ont, dans lequel ils sont en train d'investir sur environ 44 pays dans le monde. Et également, ils ont donc une plateforme dans lequel ils sont en train de faire des diversifications dans les domaines d'entreprise que eux estiment vont être porteurs. Par exemple, dans le domaine du tourisme, donc ils se sont lancés dans l'immobilier, à savoir ainsi que l'hôtellerie. Il y a également le domaine de la santé qui est très important parce que les infrastructures ont quand même encore besoin d'elles, donc ils investissent là. Et puis évidemment, ils ont quelques contrats, donc un succès au niveau de la présidence et quelques autres entreprises. Donc, et également, donc, il est dans les startups, donc dans la technologie, les technologies concernant donc les banques, les transactions. Donc, c'est une plateforme, en fait, si je dois résumer, Monsieur Mupondo en un mot, donc mon ami Joe, ce serait que pour les investisseurs qui veulent aller investir, par exemple, en République démocratique du Congo et peut-être avoir des conseils pour d'autres pays, nous mentionnons tout à l'heure que c'est bien de faire des joint ventures et parfois c'est bien de connaître les bonnes personnes à qui s'adresser, à qui se joindre pour bénéficier de conseils. Sur cette plateforme, la personne que je vous référais, ce serait Monsieur Joe.
Thank you so much. Wow, that's a very good summary. Thank you, Madame Fabiola et Monsieur Baji. Vous avez vraiment présenté Monsieur Joe, and which we can't wait to really hear more about him. But now we can maybe start with the two of you guys, Mr. Baji and Monsieur Joe.
Janine, excuse-moi. Au cas où Excellence Keita reviendrait, on va juste le présenter parce que on a perdu son truc. En fait, Mr. Keita, who was here previously with us on the screen, is an ambassador, but he doesn't like to be called as an ambassador. He's an ambassador of everything that is related to conflict resolution and other things. He mainly left his country from Guinea, and if my memory is good, is in West Africa. And he went back to his study in France. And most of the time when he finished studying, he was dwelling with the fact, like most of us who left our countries or who left Europe to come abroad, if he has to go back or he has to stay. Like it was common for everybody to talk about the situations, social and political situations in Africa. Things changed, and he decided to stay in France and to work and to highly educate himself in the sector of economy and fiscality. So what he did, he worked, and he was addressing things that is related. I was saying that he got the title of ambassador for everything that is about how you rule in a certain way with all the laws that you can understand, corruption and all those things and stuff like that, and to resolve conflict. And then he became an entrepreneur. He has like three enterprises, and one that is open business for Africa that he created, and he called it as a ship. The ship will carry all the people who have concerns about investing in Africa, and to be actually advising them and being able to create, instead of having people just going like that, to have like Mr. Chamala was saying, to have references, and he can advise people. So until he left, he said that there are in a lot of countries in Africa, and in 44 countries in Africa, where he's advising all the enterprises, small, big ones, who will come to him and will ask for advice to invest in Africa. So that's where, unfortunately, like the technology has its moods, and we have to deal with that. And we're gonna go on until he comes back with few questions. Actually, it will be a question that all of you can summarize if you can give advices about things in quickly, because we are caught up with time. We're trying to respect as most as possible, because all of you, as we can imagine, like all of us, we have activities, and we will just like a short overview and summarizing and tips that you can give to all those people who are listening to you. I thank you very much. Janine?
Thank you, Madam Fabiola. That's a very good summarize. Hopefully he can be able to come back, but if not, we will have more opportunity for him to come and present more about activities or opportunities for people to come and invest in Africa. Now, our first question to all of you, like just like Madam Fabiola said, if you can summarize one of the questions. We have many questions, but just for the sake of time, we're going to be focusing on what are some of the tools and value that every investor should be able to adjust or be able to know, when they're coming to Africa to to invest. So if you can give maybe from your personal experience or just some tips, what do you have seen or what you have experienced, some of the tools of value that investors can be able to consider, coming to Africa, or in particular in Congo or in Guinea or other countries. That would be great. We start with Monsieur Baji and then Mr. Joe.
Thank you very much again, Janine. So in terms of advice for investor, I will always advise the investor to, first of all, make at least a trip in the country where you want to invest. And once he is there, you need to get along with the culture. I believe it was mentioned one of the first panelists, I can read properly with Lagos. Like it is important to get in tune with the culture, because culture is very important. It's your communication, what you think is granted from where you are, especially for those who come from Europe, America, for example. You might take some stuff for granted, but over there it could be definitely something else. Something as simple as just the time. the time that we follow here, the time that it might be done over there, it's an element that can be dealt totally different. So basically, it will be to be in tune, to understand the culture, to make a trip over there, and to invest, or in order to invest, to do a joint venture with a local business that is in the same area that what you want to do. That would be my advice for now.
Thank you, Mr. Baji. Mr. Joe, the same question.
Thank you for the question. I believe that Baji said what's most important. I mean, if you want to invest in something, you got to learn. You got to know what it is. If you want to invest in a country that is not yours, you got to know that country. Obviously, it's very important to find a good partner to either invest with or invest in. And then, of course, Africa is a continent. It has 54 countries. Let's not forget that. It has the countries are all on different levels. So you got a few countries that are just as developed in terms of administration as any other country in the world, where there's a one-stop shop. Everything goes very fast. So you got, for example, I think it's Togo, if I'm not mistaken. Togo is the number one country today in terms of doing business, because you can open a company from your mobile phone, and it's taking you a few hours. Rwanda as well has a one-stop shop. South Africa is a company that has everything. I mean, there are so many countries that today are very transparent. And then you have some other countries who are still trying, but have huge potential. And those countries are countries like the DRC, like Central Africa, Cameroon, the old countries, if I can, let me call them the old countries. Unfortunately, most of them are Francophone. So maybe that's the reason. But at least I believe that all of the countries are they're trying the best. They're trying to go forwards. They know that they need to go forwards if they want to be counted in this world. But again, not all of the countries are risk-free. A country like DRC is a risky country in terms of investments, but it also gives you a high return on investments. And so if you are a risk taker, Congo is your country. If you want to risk a little bit less, then maybe you want to go and invest in Kenya. So it depends on what you want to do. I'm gonna let the others talk as well, of course.
Thank you. We're gonna go to Coach Jenny. Our question to you, Coach Jenny, just your own journey being in Nigeria and also in other countries in Africa. What would you say that technology or network has really helped you to communicate effectively? Can you give us some story or actually advice about how people can go by that, like using technology and your network? How effective is that?
So on the people side, so thank you. And this has also been a really powerful conversation and a great learning for me even. I'm excited actually at thinking more about business opportunities again as we navigate through COVID.
Yes.
So the first thing is the people side of this. And that is building relationships with people. It's huge, it's critical. And technology can actually be a vehicle for that. So for example, if you have, any of the usual social media platforms, whether they're professional or more personal, like a Facebook or Instagram, it can actually be a wonderful opportunity to start building relationships. As I shared earlier, I have built relationships with people that I have not actually physically put my eyes on, but I've done it over a long period of time, and that has been through social media. And I've gotten to the point where, I think those platforms can be helpful If English is often the language of business, it allows you to see how someone else is talking about what they're selling. You can watch their behavior. And that's something that maybe you sometimes standing in front of someone you may not see, but on social media over a long period of time, you can watch the kinds of things they post, the kinds of things that, if you're not someone who wants a lot of drama and those kinds of dynamics, you can see that kind of thing progress in someone's relationship. So I think it's actually really powerful. Technology can be very powerful in that. Going back to the people part of this, and to the point, it is critical to be in country and to also understand to go visit a country, not just as a tourist that's in maybe the depending on what kind of work you want to do. And again, I can't speak about mining, but I just think about my personality. I want to go directly into whatever it is that I'm thinking about investing in. So if I'm thinking about investing in agriculture, I'm not going to sit in the nice glass building or the building that's far from the agricultural environment. I would want to go because I want to understand the processes. And again, that's very much how I function. I like to have a good understanding because it gives me a language of conversation. It gives me an opportunity to ask questions. So I absolutely 100% say it is imperative to be in the country. It is imperative to build trusting relationships. So for example, when I've been to Nigeria, I used to go and I would have handlers, I'll say, people who met me at the airport, put me in a car and off we went. And then I went all by myself without any handlers. But I had built relationships. So I had a driver who understood where to go and where not to go. Understood, for example, there was police checkpoints. We were coming back from something and it was late at night and there were police checkpoints. And I was uncomfortable. But what I did was I watched I watched his body language. I watched and I observed and I relaxed because I couldn't insert myself in something that I didn't have I didn't speak the language, so I didn't have a full understanding of it. But I can't stress how important it is to be in the country, to add to what everyone on the panelists have said, be in the country, understand the dynamics, understand, if it's prayer time, for example, it's prayer time. If you're in a country that, there's the call to prayer, then you respect and honor that, regardless of your own religious perspectives. Technology, again, if you're doing business, figure out how to make it mobile friendly. Between mobile banking, mobile, being able to exchange money through mobile, it's very, very, very important. And those are things that I learned just in watching and being on the ground and being able to figure out what are the opportunities, what are the business opportunities to train people in entrepreneurship, which is something that I'm very passionate about, and to do big business where we're training corporate leaders to be more effective. So those are some of the things that I've seen.
Okay, thank you, Madame Dufresne. For Chris, I have a question. Can you share some of the success story you have with your investors? Chris is still with us, I believe, right?
No, I think he left. I think
he left. Huh?
He had to leave early.
And Ignace left too.
I think they both there. I can see both of them, but they are not on video.
No, I think they left.
Chris left a note saying that he had to leave early, but yeah. So I don't know if he's still here or not. His space is still here, but I don't.
Because I can still see both of them for some reason.
Yes,
but
I can
I think
too.
I see Ambassador Sheikh is back, I believe. No, because on my screen he's still here for some reason. Okay.
I don't see him. I see
technology. I just on my screen. Maybe I had to restore. I'm the one who need to reset maybe, but that's okay. We can ask Mr. Joe if he can answer to that question. Madame Fabiola, you can repeat the question.
I'm going to repeat the question. Let me find it back here. Mr. Joe, can you share some of the success stories you have had with the investors? Were the investors in your previous journey and as an investor yourself? Voilà.
Yeah. Well, we've never received investments. We've always turned with our own money. So I cannot share a success story with an investor. Maybe one day we will see. As I'm looking for funds for the music platform. So maybe next year I will be able to come and share that. But the success as an investor, a success story as an investor, I believe that I believe that our music business is, has been very successful, and well, we've had quite a few good success within our own company as well, with Sodeiko. I mean, and we've also hit some pretty hard. We've also had some losses, of course. I mean, I believe that the success depends on the objective that you have, and how you measure the success depends on the objective as well. It doesn't need to always be a monetary return on the success. I'm more with Jenny when I say that the biggest success that I've had is the network I've built in the last 20 years. That I've been active. I mean, that's my greatest success. I know people from all over the world. I work with people from Japan to Chile, from LA to Australia. And if I'm to talk about investment, like I said, I mean, there's a great return on investments in the DRC. Where if you look into the real estate, the return on investment in DRC has a 30 to 50% ratio on return on equity within 5 to 7 years. So if you invest smart, there will be good return on investment. A great thing about Africa in general is that there's a lot of institutional voids. And as there are a lot of institutional voids, you have a lot of opportunities and can have very good return on investment. Either if it's, for example, again, Jenny was talking about phones. If you're in the telco business and you sell phones, you will invest. It's a small profit business. It's between 5 and 7%, but you will invest and you can have a very good return on investment based on the numbers of people, because it's a mass market products. Same with FMCG. I mean, if you deal in Ethiopia, you deal with 100 million. If you deal with in Nigeria, you're dealing with 250 million people. If you deal in DRC, you're dealing with approximately 100 million as well. I mean, if you're into FMCGs, those are the countries where you want to go and invest, and you will have return on investment quite quickly. Again, if you invest smart. So everything and investing smart is investing with the right people, working with the right people, and building partnerships. Thank you.
OK. Avant qu'on revienne à Excellence Keita, Cheikh Keita, en fait, pour un peu essayer de résumer ce que nos trois brillants panélistes ont présenté, c'est-à-dire le dénominateur commun qu'ils ont, c'est de se dire qu'il faut connaître la culture, il faut s'imprégner de ce qui se passe localement. Il faut tisser des liens avec les gens, que ce soit des producteurs locaux, que ce soit des futurs partenaires. Le joint venture, ce n'est pas quelque chose qu'on peut faire les yeux fermés comme ça et puis y aller et faire abnégation du risque du potentiel risque qu'il y a. Donc, Monsieur Mopundu Joe, aujourd'hui, lui, il a décrit qu'il y a plusieurs pays comme ça où vous pouvez plus ou moins évaluer le risque. Si vous êtes vraiment, je dirais pas kamikaze parce que c'est un petit peu trop fort, mais si vous êtes un peu un gars qui aime l'aventure et les choses qui bougent, évidemment, la RDC, c'est l'endroit idéal si vous voulez avoir des sensations fortes en termes de risque en affaires. Mais il y a des autres pays comme le Cameroun et ceci. Et ce qu'on peut voir aussi, c'est que je pense que ce qui est ressorti de chez tout le monde, c'est vraiment le capital humain et puis la capacité d'évaluer vraiment ce dans quoi on se lance et avoir vraiment des connexions en termes de compréhension des personnes avec qui on compose. Et à la question où on a demandé à Joe, mais quels sont les succès qu'il a eus en termes de retour par rapport aux investisseurs. Pourquoi je prends son point? Parce qu'il a noté qu'il n'a pas eu d'investisseurs. Il a investi énormément dans beaucoup de choses. Il y a eu des retours sur son investissement, des retours considérables, et il y a eu aussi beaucoup de pertes. Et il a nommé, par exemple, le fait qu'un pays, pour ne citer que lui, la RDC, a beaucoup les voids, c'est comme des vides, c'est comme des gouffres un peu plus moins en termes de spectaculaires, de gouffres institutionnels qui sont en fait, comme disait M. Chamala, qui sont des défis, mais en fait qui se transforment en opportunités. Et c'est par rapport à ça que le niveau de succès peut se mesurer par rapport aux risques qu'on prend et aux choses qu'on cible, dans lesquelles on cible d'investir. Il a donné par exemple l'immobilier qui fait un retour sur investissement de 35%, voire 50%. Il a parlé des téléphones, c'est peut-être petit, mais c'est un retour sur investissement de 7% qui est à la longue, en capitalisant sur le facteur de la masse, qui est beaucoup plus probant que les autres choses. Donc voilà, merci. L'ambassadeur est avec nous et on va lui donner l'opportunité de terminer ce qu'on a résumé de son parcours, mais de le laisser finir et lui poser une question avant qu'on libère. Voilà, ambassadeur, c'est à vous.
Ouais, merci, je suis revenu, mais je ne sais pas ce qui s'est passé. J'ai eu une coupure et j'ai été éjecté complètement de l'ordinateur. Ben, écoutez, je suis revenu et je suis très heureux de pouvoir continuer avec vous. Je le disais que l'Afrique est un grand marché d'investissement, l'Afrique est un grand marché de potentialité, mais ce n'est pas un continent facile à investir. Vous le savez tous que c'est ça la réalité. Mais en essayant de nous concerter et à nous organiser en créant une plateforme commune dans laquelle chaque personne, chef d'entreprise et investisseur potentiel ou membre d'une association, d'une ONG ou chef d'entreprise, comme on le dit aujourd'hui, si on se consacre à nous échanger des expertises et des expériences, je pense que nous allons trouver le chemin pour aller en Afrique. Alors, l'Afrique est un grand marché, je disais, mais il faut des navires pour aller en Afrique. Parce que même si on est africain, quand on est resté longtemps à l'étranger et qu'on est un peu africaine, même si on est africain né en Afrique, on se perd parfois quand on revient en Afrique et qu'on veut repartir pour faire des affaires. C'est pour cela qu'il faut absolument avoir une très bonne idée et avoir des personnes ou des sociétés comme la nôtre, enfin je fais une publicité vers vous, comme OBA, puisque nous avons une expertise, une expérience de plus de 25 ans sur le marché africain pour vous accompagner. Mais cela ne suffit pas. Cela ne suffit pas. il faut identifier un secteur potentiel dans lequel vous pouvez apporter votre valeur ajoutée et votre expertise pour vous démarquer des qui sont sur le terrain. Alors, comment faire pour que les entreprises qui veulent investir en Afrique viennent travailler avec nous? Eh bien, il faut d'abord leur dire que en Afrique aujourd'hui, il y a quelques années, nous n'avons pas assez de banques. Et beaucoup de banques se sont installées en Afrique. Beaucoup d'entreprises se sont installées en Afrique. Il y a une certaine visibilité aujourd'hui sur la réalité économique et financière des pays. Il y a des informations extraordinaires sur les secteurs potentiels d'investissement. Et pour cela, nous pouvons avoir des bonnes idées et aussi des élans potentiels pour travailler. Quelles sont les suggestions que je peux apporter pour faire du continent africain un endroit idéal pour les investisseurs étrangers ou locaux? Je vous disais déjà que notre société aide tout le monde à venir en Afrique. L'Afrique est une grande opportunité. C'est le moment idéal pour investir maintenant en Afrique. C'est maintenant, parce que l'Afrique est la région la plus rentable dans le monde. Pour être encore plus attractif, le continent africain doit quand même absolument se consacrer à la réalisation des objectifs de développement durable, les ODD, car chaque ODD offre des solutions d'affaires et des opportunités d'investissement aux entreprises étrangères sur le continent. Les pays africains, par contre, doivent fréquemment réviser leur code des investissements pour les adapter à l'époque et aux conditions internationales telles que ce que nous vivons en ce moment, c'est-à-dire la pandémie de Covid-19. L'Afrique doit continuer à améliorer la gouvernance mondiale avec l'indice global de gouvernance en Afrique qui s'est amélioré à un taux de 1,4% depuis 2007, soit une augmentation de plus de 5%. Les gouvernements africains devraient s'appuyer sur cette tendance positive pour optimiser l'investissement étranger. Cela signifie, en outre, qu'il faut éliminer la corruption en soulignant que les pays du Nord doivent aussi faire leur travail de lutte contre la corruption, car en général, vous savez bien
On voit que la technologie, definitely, we have to make sure that technology really, work with us. We almost at the end. I'm not sure if the ambassador is still there and he can hear us, but we're just going to make sure that everybody information we're going to put on the chat so you all can be able to stay connected. There's so many notes that have been taken and on va revenir à toutes les questions parce qu'on n'a même pas eu le temps de beaucoup partager because of timing, but we enjoying this discussion. It's only the first one, but I really, really thank everybody. We still have some few questions, but our last question to be able to finish, if in 1 minute everybody can say something about how do you adapt for your business with the pandemic? As an investor, can you respond to that? Because that's something that we are currently experiencing. So as an investor, as a businessman, how do you adjust and how do you suggest?
Janine, excuse-moi, avant que je quitte, parce qu'il faut que je parte,
Yes.
je vais juste essayer de résumer pour Jenny et les autres. Qu'est-ce que l'ambassadeur disait? The Excellence was talking about the fact that for the upcoming years, Africa remain the continent where people need to invest, and people will invest, and people should invest. So globally, what is doing is to continue to empower this kind of mentality to invest in Africa. But there's a lot of things that need to be done that in which we need to do better, like the global index that will make the investor feeling a little bit comfortable to invest, about the ruling in Africa, corruption, and all those things that is familiar, sadly, to a lot of countries in Africa. There's progress. People are doing a little bit better, but we need to do more. The sustainable energies and all those things. This is the things people need to go towards to invest in Africa. And this is why platform like this that we have, and in the same time, it take also the occasion to talk about, to throw a line there when it concerns his own business, that this is what we should be doing. This is how you should be doing to encourage, to empower people to keep in mind and to remain alert that Africa is the place where everybody should be thinking about investing. And hopefully that people will get the message, and we will continue to do better. As for me, I will excuse myself because I have things to do. It was a pleasure to be with you, to translate, to know you with your wonderful things that you're doing that is interrelated. And it seems obviously that you're people. So thank you for everything. I apologize, I couldn't stay until the end. Some of the people are in Montreal, so I'm on Twitter, and Janine has my phone number. So I'll be delighted to continue all those ventures with you, and to hopefully when the pandemic finish, to see you. So stay safe, mostly. Good luck with everything. And I'll see you soon. Thank you so much. Janine, merci beaucoup. Et on
Oh, we can hear you, but that's okay. I will put Madame Fabiola information on the chat, so you guys can be able to. She's a wonderful lady. Also an investor that I really admire working with. So I'm gonna put also her information and all your information, so people can be able to reach out to you, because I'm all about really building up people's platform. And that's why I definitely was thinking that my first meeting or conversation should be with all of you guys. But I think our next one, many of you will come back, because we haven't even started the good conversation of even addressing some of the questions that I have. But that's okay, because I'm so excited to have all of you guys. But thank you for your time. I'm not gonna, take too long, but in 1 minute, if you can just summarize, with the pandemic, how do you adjust? Or as an investor, as a business owner, how do you adjust with the pandemic? We're gonna start with Mr. Joe, and then Mr. Baji, and then Coach Jenny, and then if the ambassador come back, we'll be able to ask him to also say that, and also Coach Kim can be able to answer to that question too. With the pandemic, how do you adjust? Okay, Mr. Baji.
Well,
Mr. Joe.
Okay, yeah, quite quickly. So on the Sodeco side, as we have a diversified portfolio, some got hit pretty hard, others managed to give us a balance. So what we did is that we went back on a discovery. We did a discovery with our clients. It gave us the possibility to retrospect on our businesses and what was good, what we were doing good and well, what we were not doing well, and also it also gave us a boost in diversification, because we knew that it is important to make sure that you have a diversified portfolio for times like this, so that you have businesses to fall on when others don't. On the music side, we got hit pretty hard because, well, it's events, it's music, it's artists that are out and touring all over the world. They haven't been able to do so. So But there again, a good thing is that we had a catalog of music. We had some money coming in, not as much as what we are used to, but it's also very good. I'm very positive about the pandemic, because it gave us the possibility to really look beyond and start thinking strategy and how we are going to execute mid and long-term strategies for the future, and make sure we don't do the same mistakes we've done the last couple of years. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Baji.
Always a great pleasure meeting you again, Joe. It was a pleasure also meeting all the rest of the panelists. So in a minute, what I could say is this pandemic reality open our eyes on how we're using all the technology that we have around us, and also created some more opportunities. And actually has changed also the way we have to work. Like, for example, right now, we are all connected from different time zones, from different continents, and we are always able to connect together. And it's also efficient, because maybe if it was a few years back, Janine would have requested us to land in Dallas, you know, so it would be a totally different actually process. But today, from your room, from your place, you're able to talk with your client and tell them or educate them in a different way of doing business, the business that you are into. So the main thing here is mostly the education, and to take advantage of what we have today. Because I just wonder if we did not have what we have today, let's say if this happened before in the 90s, for example, I don't know what would have happened. It would have been such a so different history. But gladly, we have the technology today that allows us to reach out to our customers and still just let them know or guide them on how are the new steps on doing business online.
Thank you so much, Mr. Baji. Coach Jenny, same question.
So the pandemic really disrupted our business. All of the training that we did was live. So somewhat like music, everything just stopped. And what I would say is that I completely agree that as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, like, you really do have to take, you know, the pain with the pleasure. You have to be able to say, okay, we no longer have this line of business, which was all for us, all live business. And now we have to figure out how to pivot. And in that, we've overused the word pivot at this point, moving. But tremendous opportunity has been created out of this. And I think it is the entrepreneurs who can now sit and look broadly at opportunities that are going to be able to have the greatest opportunity to serve and to impact and to create legacy wealth, both for themselves and their employees. One of the things that I would say, actually, which I think is particularly unique to my experience in Nigeria, and I think it also extends out to the continent of Africa, is that I'm not sure that there's such a thing as niching down. Like we talk so much about in the US, we're always like, oh, niche, you find your niche, you find your niche. Well, listening to Joe and Baji, like, that's not the way Africa works. One of my dear friends has a construction company, a wine importation company, a parts income, like all of those things are going on. And part of it because it actually creates that, pandemic proof or recession proof, or if one business is up, the other businesses might be down. So it's something that when I first saw that working with one of my business, and she's a friend of mine in Nigeria, it really caused me to take a step back and think, my goodness, if you have investors and you have a great idea and you have a strong network and you have good contracts, you have good business acumen, you can pretty much, and you have the interest, you can pretty much be in any kind of industry or industries, right? Because at the end of the day, some of it is just about partnerships and leveraging one person's strengths or one company's strengths to maximize, your investment dollars or to maximize other competencies that you have. And so that for me is one of the greatest things I think in the pandemic. Yes, it can be very painful. I think of in Nigeria, the market women who could no longer go to market. And there was a lot of, there's been a lot of issues around people not being able, the subsistence businesses, those businesses that relied on what I make today is what feeds my family. Like, I think those are some key opportunities that I think about of like, what other ways could we have helped develop those businesses to be more impactful? And so I think the pandemic has created a lot of pain, yes. And I think it's also created a lot of possibility to think really broadly about opportunity, and then to partner and create new types of businesses. Like, that's the one thing, there's going to be brand new businesses that people never thought of before out of this, no matter the country, no matter the level of development, infrastructure development, there are new opportunities now.
Thank you so much, Coach Jenny. And Coach Kim?
Yes, Coach Jenny just pretty much summed it all up perfectly. But I want to just add that, I think the pandemic has truly presented opportunities beyond what we could ever think about. And it is stuff that, we tend to want to go the traditional business route, the traditional Western business model. And I think that we have to abandon that and start to look at new things, new ways of using. And one of the ways that I see we can do that is with the younger generation. We haven't spoken much about the young folks, but I think they are truly embracing technology in ways that we didn't create it for. I come from a telecommunications research and development background. And I remember us creating features on the telephone and then sending them out into the market, and they get used in ways that we never ever thought about. And I just see that happening now with the young generation. For example, there's an artist community that I'm affiliated with. And when COVID hit, they were no longer able to do their expos. They were no longer able to go out and have exhibits and things like that. So they went online with it. And they have done so much better because they're up close and personal with each viewer, and the viewer feels like they're talking to them, and so they get more sales that way. So I think we need to realize that this has kind of leveled the playing field for us in terms of bridging the gaps from the US to Africa. And I think we, even our little group right here, I think if we were to brainstorm what's possible for, to create a forum or a platform for other business owners to come in and start to bridge that gap and come up with new ways that we can expose ourselves to each other. I just see so much possibility here. And, as part of with you and with Janine's passion and enthusiasm, I'm sure that there's going to be opportunity for us to do more. So, I just look forward to what's possible. Thank you all for participating.
Thank you, Coach Kim. And that's really why I really bring you guys together, because I've seen, I know most of you and many of you, and that's why we gotta really, get together and really be able to put you guys in a platform like this so people can get to know you. Absolutely. I don't know if the ambassador can be able to hear us and to give his last few words, and also saying, how do you adjust with the pandemic with your business?
Je m'excuse vraiment, je n'ai pas de chance aujourd'hui. Oui, je vous entends.
Non, ça va.
Est-ce que vous m'entendez? Moi, je vous entends très bien.
Yes. Si. Vous pouvez juste
Ah,
donner
ça va, vous
votre
m'entendez?
dernier mot.
OK.
Oui.
Ah, très bien. Ben, écoutez, je m'excuse beaucoup parce que finalement, j'ai pas eu la chance avec la ligne, avec l'ordinateur. Mais je voulais simplement dire que pour impacter le développement de l'Afrique et le business en Afrique, nous avons la possibilité d'organiser ensemble, parce que les fils d'Afrique, plus les afro-descendants qui sont partout dans le monde, c'est une puissance inexplicable, qui est une puissance peut être mise en valeur pour les affaires. Nous avons lancé l'initiative Hope for New Africa, qui est une initiative qui permet de faire venir les afrodescendants américains en Afrique, parce que nous avons travaillé ça, pour les faire venir à chaque fois dans un pays africain pour qu'ils visitent les chefs d'entreprise des sociétés américaines afrodescendants, pour qu'ils visitent l'Afrique, pour en savoir un peu plus, avoir des idées pour investir. Donc, nous devons nous coaliser pour essayer d'investir sur l'Afrique. Alors, pour ne pas tarder, je vais parler pour le Covid, la problématique du Covid. Le Covid-19 nous a complètement anéantis dans nos prévisions. C'est une pandémie qui étrangle les entreprises. C'est une pandémie qui joue beaucoup sur la capacité d'État aujourd'hui à réguler un certain nombre de secteurs. Vous savez que les pays africains leur somme de la vente des matières premières. Alors, quand vous avez le prix des matières premières qui diminue, il y a un choc qui se répand et que finalement, les budgets des pays africains baissent. Donc, cette pandémie, d'abord, a eu une action très, très négative, même si l'Afrique s'en est sortie très mieux que les pays européens en matière de morbidité, en matière de mort par la pandémie. Mais il faut retenir quand même que l'Afrique est un continent qui a été complètement abattu par et qui continue à le vivre. Cette pandémie vraiment a causé des problèmes dans les États africains. Mais j'espère que nous allons quand même pouvoir dépasser cette pandémie et que l'Afrique sera au premier plan pour l'investissement dans le monde. Je vous remercie. Je ne veux pas être long, puisque le temps est très court maintenant.
Merci beaucoup. I just want to summarize what the Ambassador Keita just mentioned. That's a very good idea to be able to come together as a coalition, and all the American and African American can be able to go in Africa and be able to really to learn and to be able to work together just as a family, because as sons and daughters of Africa, this is a very good opportunity that he just mentioned, which we're going to develop more in our series of conversation, because I would like really for him to talk more about that. So that's a very brilliant idea that he just suggests. And thank you so much, Ambassador. Because of the timing, we will love to stop here, but I would like to thank everybody. Thank you so much for our wonderful panelists. Merci beaucoup en tout cas. Je sais qu'on a dépassé le temps, mais merci beaucoup pour tout le monde. Monsieur Baji, Monsieur Joe, Monsieur Ignace. Merci Coach Jenny, Coach Kim, l'ambassadeur en tout cas, and also Madame Fabiola. I really, really appreciate you guys. We did not even finish the question, but this is only one of our first series. So we will have more coming up. Our next series will be April 25th. So please stay tuned that we will be able to put all the people who will participate on the conversation this time. We're going to make sure that we put all the information so you can be able to connect with one another on social media and also in person. Thank you so much, everybody. Et merci beaucoup les gens qui nous ont suivis aussi à travers les réseaux sociaux, sur Facebook, sur YouTube. Merci beaucoup. Écrivez vos questionnaires pour nous. Et merci beaucoup. En tout cas, on avait a very good team. Et ils vont revenir encore dans notre prochaine conversation. Ça sera le 25 avril. Donc, ça sera chaque troisième dimanche du mois. So, merci beaucoup en tout cas. Et on se revoit bientôt. Merci. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Thank you so much.